Welcome to the next video by Mr.Darius. This time, we will be discussing the case of a once very famous YouTuber. Randy Stair's story is a haunting account of a YouTuber whose life became consumed by an obsession with death. This fixation permeated both the videos he produced and the path his life eventually took. Operating under the pseudonym Andrew Blaze, Stair's time on YouTube was marked by minimal views and interactions, with his content frequently exploring grim and macabre topics. His battle with mental health challenges grew more evident as time went on. Tragically, this struggle led to a horrifying act, resulting in the deaths of 3 innocent co-workers. Randy Stair, born on September 17, 1992, exhibited signs of mental health struggles from a young age, with these issues becoming particularly apparent by the time he reached middle school. His early fixation on the theme of death manifested itself through his writing, especially in the stories he submitted to his English teacher. In these narratives, he consistently explored lethal events and dark scenarios, yet none of his teachers took the initiative to inquire into the nature of his preoccupation, allowing his troubling thoughts to go unaddressed. As Stair transitioned into high school, his obsession with death and the afterlife intensified significantly. It was during this period that he began to show clear signs of suicidal ideation, contemplating various methods of self-harm. On a family trip to New York City, for example, he entertained thoughts of jumping from a skyscraper. Additionally, he considered asphyxiation and even self-immolation as potential means to end his life. Throughout this tumultuous time, Stair remained steadfastly opposed to seeking therapy or counseling, harboring a deep fear that such interventions might alter his sense of identity. In an attempt to channel his creative energy, Stair began his YouTube journey under the alias Andrew Blaze on June 9, 2008. He launched his channel, Pioneers Productions, which featured short sketches and collaborations that introduced a range of quirky characters, including Mr. Horsehead, a simple toy horse head mounted on a stick, Whale, a stuffed whale, and Froggy, a plastic frog. Despite his creative efforts, the content he produced often revolved around obscure and death-centric themes, resulting in minimal engagement and viewership from the broader YouTube audience. In 2014, seeking a fresh direction for his creative pursuits, Stair shifted his focus to a new YouTube channel called Worthless Toaster, through which he intended to channel his experiences from a particularly tumultuous year. By January 2016, he turned his attention to an animated series titled Ember's Ghost Squad EGS, which drew inspiration from the character Ember McLean from the Nickelodeon series Danny Phantom. EGS revolved around a fictional group led by Ember, a character with whom Stair found a deep sense of identification. The backstory of Ember, an unpopular high school girl with unfulfilled dreams, resonated profoundly with Stair. Her tragic demise in a mysterious house fire following the disappointment of being stood up on a date mirrored his own feelings of isolation and despair. Furthermore, Ember's posthumous song, Remember, which presumably encapsulated her life's disappointments, struck a chord with Stair, reflecting his own emotional turmoil. However, as 2016 progressed, Stair's mental state worsened significantly. He produced a deeply disturbing video titled Westboro High Massacre Konto Charpu Yacho Chi Goodbye, which featured a simulated school shooting at his former high school. This unsettling video, along with others titled Conspiring a Massacre, in which he and the EGS character Rachel plotted a school shooting, marked a profoundly troubling phase in his life indicating a sharp decline in his mental well-being and a growing fixation on violence. Before the tragic event unfolded, Randy Stair left behind a digital footprint filled with ominous signs that hinted at his impending plans. His extensive online presence included journals, videos, tweets, and notes that, in retrospect, tragically illustrate the gradual decline of his mental health. Each piece of content served as a chilling reminder of his internal struggles and the dark path he was heading down. On May 11th, Stair disturbingly detailed his attack plans in a video, outlining his intentions with a meticulous level of planning. He described how he would blockade doors and indicated that he was fully aware of who would be on duty at the store that night. Most disturbingly, he demonstrated an unsettling awareness that the store's surveillance cameras would capture the entire event, which highlighted not only his premeditation, but also his desire for notoriety. In his 42-minute film titled The Westboro High Massacre Goodbye, Stair idolized the Columbine shooters, Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, referring to them as heroes. This admiration echoed that of Cassie Jo Stoddart's murderer, Brian Draper, and was indicative of his disturbing mindset. The film features Stair venting his frustrations over his unheeded requests for help and the apparent lack of attention his creative work received from others. It was a culmination of his feelings of isolation and despair. The words Stair spoke in the film are haunting and filled with menace. "I've been stepped on my entire life. Not anymore. I've had enough of this putrid planet, and I'm gonna leave my mark. All souls are fair game. There's nothing you can do to stop this." He appears in the film dressed in a t-shirt emblazoned with the chilling statement, "It's our time to kill," while he intimately handles his shotgun, which he affectionately named Rachel and Mackenzie. This imagery is both disturbing and revealing, offering insight into his warped mentality. The film includes animated sequences depicting a school massacre where characters resembling Stair and his creation, Ember, are shown indiscriminately shooting people. Despite the overt violence of the content, the film paradoxically reveals a deeply lonely individual who yearned for recognition and grappled with profound questions about the meaning of life. This duality paints a complex picture of a man struggling internally while expressing his darkest thoughts externally. 17 days before the massacre, Stair ominously foreshadowed the event by stating, "Mark June 7th on your calendars. You probably won't witness anything quite like this again." This declaration served as a chilling warning to those who might have been paying attention, yet it went largely unrecognized. 2 days prior to the attack, Stair took to the internet to post a suicide note that conveyed his deep sense of despair. "I'm so ready to die. 2 more fun nights, and that's it. I've never felt so distant from society, and I love it." This statement reflected his sense of detachment and finality. On the eve of the shooting, Stair flooded his social media with a multitude of notes, journals, and videos, one of which was ominously titled Supermarket Tour June 7th, the day before the shooting. His Twitter posts further indicated his intentions, containing statements such as, "You won't want to miss this one. It's going to be historic," and "Be on the lookout," for headlines pertaining to Tunkhannock. These messages were not just casual remarks. They were chilling indicators of his plans. Just hours before the tragedy unfolded, Stair cryptically wrote, "I've been planning to do this for at least 3 to 4 months," revealing the depth of his premeditation. His Twitter bio, under the pseudonym Andrew Blaze, eerily proclaimed, "I had to die in order to truly live," speaking from before and beyond the grave. This declaration encapsulated the disturbing notion that he felt compelled to commit an atrocity in order to achieve a sense of immortality through infamy. Despite these explicit hints and ominous signals, tragically, no one was able to discern the gravity of his words or act to prevent the impending atrocity. This lack of recognition ultimately culminated in a devastating loss, highlighting the urgent need for better awareness and intervention in situations involving mental health crises. On the night of June 7th, as Randy Stair began his shift at Weiss Market at 11 p.m., the store was in the process of preparing to close for the evening. With a chilling sense of purpose, Stair methodically spent the next hour and a half securing the store's exits. He utilized crates and pallets to create barricades at the doors, ensuring that his colleagues would be trapped inside, with no means of escape. Minutes before he was set to initiate his attack, at exactly 12:37 a.m., Stair sent a text message to his mother that eerily resembled a farewell note. In this message, he informed her of his imminent death and mentioned that he would be leaving behind DVDs and journals for his family, hinting at his troubled state of mind and the grim intentions that lay ahead. Staying true to his meticulously laid-out plan, Stair subsequently uploaded a trove of documents and videos to his various social media accounts. His final tweet, haunting in its finality, read, "Goodbye, humans. I'll miss you," encapsulating the darkness of his intentions and the prelude to the horror he was about to unleash. As the clock inched closer to 1 a.m. on June 8th, Stair unleashed the attack he had planned for so long. Without hesitation, he callously shot and killed 3 of his colleagues: 63-year-old Terry Sterling, 25-year-old Victoria Brong, and 47-year-old Brian Hayes. Throughout his rampage, Stair fired a staggering total of 59 shots, devastatingly destroying store merchandise and tragically ending the lives of 3 innocent individuals who had been unsuspecting victims of his malice. Amidst the chaos of the shooting, a 4th co-worker miraculously survived. Engrossed in her work and wearing headphones, she was initially oblivious to the unfolding attack. It wasn't until she heard the gunshots and witnessed Stair fatally shoot one of her colleagues that she became aware of the horrific situation. At that critical moment, Stair's eyes met hers, and inexplicably, he chose to spare her life, instead moving to another aisle to continue his assault. This crucial moment allowed her to find a hiding spot within the store, giving her the opportunity to eventually flee and call 911. As she desperately sought help, the echoes of more gunshots reverberated from inside the store, underscoring the terrifying reality of the situation she had just escaped. After carrying out his merciless assault, Randy Stair ultimately ended his own life with a single gunshot, bringing the horrific events of that night to a tragic and devastating conclusion. In the aftermath of the tragic events that unfolded, Wyoming County District Attorney Jeff Mitchell offered insights into the motivations behind Randy Stair's horrific actions. He surmised that Stair's animosity towards the store's night manager, who was one of his victims, may have served as a catalyst for the attack. Mitchell remarked, "This is really a mental health situation that utterly spiraled out of control. I think he had long-standing mental health issues that resulted in this horrible tragedy." This statement highlights the complex interplay of mental health challenges and personal grievances that ultimately culminated in the devastating incident. Following the tragedy, authorities conducted a search of Stair's home, which revealed a disturbing stockpile of items. Among the discoveries were 12-gauge shotgun ammunition, notebooks filled with his thoughts, various drawings, flash drives, external hard drives, recordable discs, and a computer. These items painted a stark picture of a troubled mind that had been preparing for a significant act of violence. Included in the findings was a video message directed to his parents. In this recording, Stair candidly disclosed his long-held thoughts about death and expressed his deeply rooted belief that he wouldn't live past his 20s. He also revealed a personal struggle that he had kept hidden from the world, his admission of cross-dressing in secret since 2013. In this video, he articulated his feelings of being trapped. "I was just a female soul trapped in a man's body my whole life." This confession added another layer of complexity to his character, indicating that his struggles were not solely external, but also deeply personal. On the very day of the attack, Stair sent an email to Texas-based voice actress Laura Faverty, who had previously worked on his online series. This email, which went unseen until later due to his uncharged phone, began as a suicide note, but ominously morphed into an outline of his plans for the attack and the true purpose of his videos. Just 2 days prior, Stair had expressed frustration with Faverty's voiceover work in an online journal, revealing the tension and dissatisfaction he felt in both his personal and professional life. In his handwritten notes from June 5th, Stair poignantly wrote, "I'll be looking down on those who I've inspired and look to seeing what you create in your lives. Don't ever forget about me." This statement underscores his desire for a lasting impact on others, even in the wake of his destructive intentions. His final video served as a dark reflection of his mindset, questioning the possibility of preventing future tragedies, and concluding bleakly with the assertion that you can't prevent it. You can only endure it. In another haunting post, he wrote, "There is nothing that any of you could have done to prevent this from happening. It was my destiny, and sometimes destiny is a bitch." Stair, a self-professed loner, openly admitted to having no friends, never having dated, and harboring a profound hatred for humanity. He saw the extensive material he uploaded online as his legacy, displaying clear narcissistic tendencies when he requested his followers to preserve his work and continue the world of Ember's Ghost Squad, EGS. In a particularly disturbing suggestion, he proposed that they develop a mini-series based on his Westboro High Massacre cartoon, reflecting a desire for his violent actions to be memorialized in some twisted form. His longing for fame and recognition was evident in his notes, where he expressed, "I wanted fame. I wanted to be recognized on the street. I wanted to be in movies or have documentaries made about me." This longing reveals a deep-seated need for validation that he felt had been denied to him throughout his life. He meticulously documented his final months, convinced that his story and his experiences deserved attention and acknowledgement. Ultimately, it appeared that Stair believed his actions and the beliefs he espoused would be idolized by his so-called fans. He envisioned a twisted form of martyrdom that would follow his violent acts and public suicide, suggesting that he sought not just to end his own life, but to leave behind a legacy that would resonate with others, no matter how horrific the means of achieving that legacy might be.